Behind the laughs and romantic complications of Elaine May's darkly comic masterpiece, The Heartbreak Kid, lay talented performers whose own stories would end far too soon. This beloved 1972 film, which captured the absurdity of love and marriage with devastating wit, featured a stellar ensemble cast. Yet death would claim several of these gifted actors, cutting short careers that brought joy to millions. Their final curtain calls remind us that even in comedy, real tragedy waits in the wings. Charles Grodin. Charles Grodin's performance as Lenny Cantrell in The Heartbreak Kid perfectly captured the uncomfortable truth about human selfishness that made the film so memorable. Playing a newlywed who abandons his bride during their honeymoon for a blonde stranger on the beach, Grodin turned what could have been a simple villain into something more complex and painfully real. His ability to make audiences both laugh at and cringe with his character's terrible choices showed why he became one of comedy's most skilled performers. Born Charles Sidney Grodin in Pittsburgh in 1935, he grew up in a working-class family where his father sold supplies to tailors. After seeing the film A Place in the Sun with Elizabeth Taylor and Montgomery Clift, young Grodin knew he wanted to act. He studied at the University of Miami briefly, before returning to Pittsburgh to work in summer theater, then moved to New York City in the 1950s to pursue his dreams. Like many struggling actors, Grodin worked various jobs to pay the bills, while studying acting with respected teachers like Uta Hagen and Lee Strasberg. He drove cabs, worked as a night watchman, and sorted mail at the post office while auditioning for roles. His persistence paid off when he landed small parts in major films like Rosemary's Baby and Catch-22, before his breakthrough role in The Heartbreak Kid made him a star. Grodin's career flourished through the 70s and 80s, with memorable roles in Heaven Can Wait, Midnight Run, and later the Beethoven family comedies. He also became a familiar face on late-night television, perfecting a character who would deliberately annoy talk show hosts like Johnny Carson and David Letterman with fake complaints and awkward behavior that made audiences uncomfortable and delighted at the same time. On May 18, 2021, Grodin died peacefully at his home in Wilton, Connecticut, after battling bone marrow cancer. He was 86 years old and surrounded by his family, including his son Nicholas, who confirmed the news. Charles Grodin left behind a unique legacy as an actor who could make people laugh while showing them truths about themselves they might not want to see. Eddie Albert. Eddie Albert brought both authority and warmth to his role as Mr. Corcoran, the wealthy father trying to protect his daughter Kelly from Charles Grodin's persistent suitor in The Heartbreak Kid. Albert's performance perfectly balanced a father's natural suspicion with genuine concern, creating memorable scenes where he attempts to buy off the unwanted boyfriend while maintaining his dignity. His portrayal earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor, proving that even in his 60s, Albert could deliver powerful performances that resonated with audiences. Born Edward Albert Heimberger in Rock Island, Illinois, in 1906, Albert grew up during a time when entertainment meant live theater and radio shows. His father sold wholesale dry goods, and young Eddie showed early interest in performing while working his way through the University of Minnesota. After the stock market crash of 1929 left him without clear career prospects, Albert took various jobs including trapeze performer, insurance salesman, and nightclub singer before finding his way to New York City in the early 30s. Albert's career took off when he landed roles in Broadway productions like Brother Rat in 1936, which later became his first major film role in 1938. However, his most heroic chapter came during World War II, when he served as a Navy lieutenant in the Pacific Theater. During the brutal Battle of Tarawa in 1943, Albert commanded a landing craft and rescued over 40 wounded Marines under heavy enemy fire, earning him a Bronze Star for valor that he rarely discussed in later interviews. After the war, Albert returned to Hollywood and built an impressive career with notable roles in Roman Holiday alongside Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn. which earned him his first Oscar nomination in 1953. Television audiences knew him best as Oliver Wendell Douglas, the befuddled city lawyer turned farmer in the hit sitcom Green Acres, which ran from 1965 to 1971 and made him a household name across America. On May 26, 2005, Albert died of pneumonia at his Pacific Palisades home at the remarkable age of 99. His son Edward, who was also an actor, was holding his hand when he passed away peacefully. Eddie Albert lived nearly a full century, leaving behind a legacy that included heroic military service, memorable performances, and decades of environmental activism that helped establish Earth Day. Audra Lindley. Audra Lindley's role as Mrs. Corcoran in The Heartbreak Kid showcased her talent for playing sophisticated upper-class women with just the right touch of maternal concern and social awareness. As the mother of Sybil Shepherd's character Kelly, Lindley brought a sense of refined elegance to her scenes, while perfectly conveying a wealthy woman's polite but firm disapproval of her daughter's inappropriate suitor. Her performance added an important layer to the film's exploration of class differences and social expectations in early 70s America. Born Audra Marie Lindley in Los Angeles in 1918, she grew up in a show business family since her father, Burt Lindley, was also an actor who appeared in films from 1917 through the 30s. At just 15 years old, Audra dropped out of high school and began working her way up in Hollywood, starting as a stand-in for other actresses before progressing to stunt work and eventually earning a contract with Warner Brothers Studio. Around 1943, she left California for New York City to pursue serious theater work on Broadway. Lindley spent years building her reputation on the New York stage before returning to Hollywood in the 50s and 60s to work steadily in television and films. She appeared in countless TV shows, including The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Rhoda, and Barney Miller, always bringing professionalism and subtle humor to her character roles. Her breakthrough came when she was cast as Helen Roper, the frustrated landlady wife on the hit sitcom Three's Company, which premiered in 1977 and made her a beloved household name. The character of Helen Roper became so popular that the producers created a spin-off series called The Ropers in 1979, though it only lasted one season. Lindley continued working steadily through the 80s and 90s, appearing in films like Desert Hearts and Troop Beverly Hills, while making guest appearances on shows like Friends and Sybil. She was twice married, first to Dr. Hardy Ulm until his death in 1970, then to actor James Whitmore from 1972 to 1979. On October 16, 1997, Audra Lindley died in Los Angeles at age 79 after battling leukemia. She was buried at Woodlawn Cemetery in Santa Monica next to her father, bringing to an end a career that spanned over 5 decades and brought joy to millions of viewers who remember her warmth, humor, and perfect timing in everything she did. Doris Roberts. Doris Roberts played Mrs. Cantrow, the mother of Charles Grodin's character Lenny, in a small but memorable role that hinted at the television greatness that would come decades later. Though her scenes in The Heartbreak Kid were brief, Roberts brought the same sharp wit and maternal energy that would eventually make her one of America's most beloved TV mothers. Her performance showed early signs of her gift for playing strong, opinionated women who could deliver both humor and heart with perfect timing. Born Doris Mae Green in St. Louis, Missouri, in 1925, she faced early challenges when her father abandoned the family when she was just 10 years old. Her mother moved them to the Bronx in New York, where they lived with family while running a stenographic service that typed scripts for Broadway playwrights and actors. Young Doris often helped with the family business, developing excellent typing skills while being surrounded by the world of theater that would eventually become her calling. Roberts studied journalism briefly at New York University before switching to acting at the neighborhood playhouse, where she learned the craft that would sustain her for over 7 decades. She made her Broadway debut in 1955 in a revival of The Time of Your Life, and spent the next 20 years building her reputation on stage before moving to California. Her film career included notable roles in The Honeymoon Killers and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, while television work on shows like Remington Steele kept her consistently employed throughout the 70s and 80s. Everything changed in 1996 when Roberts was cast as Marie Barone, the meddling mother on Everybody Loves Raymond. The role transformed her from a respected character actress into a television icon, earning her 7 Emmy nominations and 4 wins over the show's 9-year run. Her portrayal of the overbearing but loving mother became so popular that fans consistently voted Marie Barone as their favorite character, despite her constant interference in her son's marriage. On April 17, 2016, Doris Roberts died peacefully in her sleep at her Los Angeles home from natural causes, with a stroke being the likely cause. She was 90 years old and had been working almost until the end, appearing in recent films and television shows. Her son Michael, who was also her manager, confirmed that she passed away surrounded by caregivers who had become like family, ending a remarkable career that brought laughter and warmth to countless homes across America. Art Metrano. Art Metrano's role as the entertainer in The Heartbreak Kid was small but perfectly captured his ability to bring humor to any situation, no matter how brief his screen time. Playing a performer at what appears to be a resort or hotel gathering, Metrano delivered the kind of understated comedy that would become his trademark throughout his career. His appearance in the film came during the early 70s when he was building his reputation as a reliable character actor who could always be counted on to add a touch of genuine humor to any production. Born Arthur Metrano in Brooklyn, New York, in 1936, he grew up in a working-class family and earned a football scholarship to junior college in California before discovering his true calling in entertainment. After working various jobs, including selling automatic telephone systems, Metrano began performing stand-up comedy in clubs and eventually developed the act that would make him famous. His breakthrough came with appearances on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, where he performed as the amazing Metrano, a deliberately terrible magician whose tricks were so simple and obvious that they became hilarious. The magic act, which involved making his fingers appear to jump from one hand to another while humming Fine and Dandy, became Metrano's signature and led to regular appearances on variety shows throughout the 70s. His acting career included early roles in films like They Shoot Horses, Don't They? And television appearances on popular shows like Bewitched, Bonanza, and Starsky and Hutch. However, his most memorable film role came in 1985 when he was cast as the ruthless Lieutenant Mauser in Police Academy 2, their first assignment, returning for the 3rd film in the series. Metrano's life changed dramatically on September 17, 1989, when he fell from a ladder while working on renovations at his Los Angeles home. The accident fractured his neck in multiple places, leaving him as a quadriplegic and effectively ending his acting career at its peak. Rather than retreat from public life, Metrano transformed his tragedy into inspiration, creating a one-man stage show called Metrano's Accidental Comedy, where he would stand from his wheelchair to take a few steps, showing audiences that life could continue even after devastating setbacks. On September 8, 2021, Art Metrano died peacefully from natural causes at his home in Aventura, Florida, at age 84. His son Harry announced the news on social media, remembering his father as the toughest man he had ever known and someone who overcame more adversities than anyone should have to face. Metrano's legacy extends far beyond his entertainment career to include his remarkable example of courage, resilience, and the power of humor to heal. William Prince. William Prince played the Colorado Man in The Heartbreak Kid, appearing in scenes set during Charles Grodin's character's pursuit of Sybil Shepherd across the country. Though his role was relatively small, Prince brought the same professionalism and subtle characterization that had made him a respected figure in American theater for decades. His appearance in the film represented the kind of reliable character work that defined his career, where even minor roles were elevated by his natural presence and understanding of human nature. Born William Leroy Prince in Nichols, New York, in 1913, he discovered his passion for acting while studying at Cornell University. When he was a senior, Prince made the bold decision to leave college and join a federal theater tour performing The Taming of the Shrew, launching a career that would span over 5 decades. He gained valuable experience with the Barter Theater in Virginia and performed Shakespeare with a company led by Maurice Evans, building the classical foundation that would serve him throughout his professional life. Prince moved to New York City in the late 30s and became one of the founding members of the Actors Studio in 1947, working alongside other future legends of American theater and film. Throughout the 1950s, he appeared regularly on prestigious television anthology series like Studio One, the Philco Television Playhouse, and Armstrong Circle Theater, helping to define the golden age of television drama. His film career included memorable roles in Cyrano de Bergerac with José Ferrer in 1950 and later in Network as a television executive. Television audiences knew Prince best for his extensive work on soap operas, where he appeared on nearly every major daytime drama of his era, including Young Dr. Malone, Another World, As the World Turns, and Search for Tomorrow. He often worked alongside his wife, actress Augusta Dabney, who coincidentally also appeared in The Heartbreak Kid as the Colorado Woman. Their professional partnership extended their personal relationship, and they became one of the theater world's most respected couples. On October 8, 1996, William Prince died in Tarrytown, New York, at the age of 83. The cause of his death was not publicly disclosed, but his passing marked the end of an era for American character actors who had helped bridge the gap between classical theater and modern television. Prince left behind a legacy of consistent, thoughtful performances that proved great acting doesn't always require starring roles, but rather a deep commitment to the craft and respect for every character, no matter how small.